and all yours.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I think we have everyone logged on, but just in case we have a couple stranglers that come in, we would love for you guys to leave a comment in the chat box as to where you're joining us from today. And then for those of you that are familiar with our Fiskars tools, let us know what's your favorite tool to create with. So we'll just wait, give you guys about a minute or two to let us know where you're tuning in from and your favorite Fiskars tool. Hi, everyone. Hello, a couple people from the West Coast and down south. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Pennsylvania and Delaware, hello. Scissors, awesome. That's one of my favorite tools of ours as well. Of course, some from Wisconsin, just like me, hello. All right, awesome. Well, thank you guys for participating so far. I want to encourage you guys that throughout the class today that you are free to write any comments or questions into the chat box. I am joined online by a couple of my teammates here at Fiskars, and we are more than happy throughout the recording here today to answer your questions. So one of my coworkers, Allie, is going to be helping to answer your questions in the chat. So again, any comments or questions that you have today while we're doing the project, please use that feature. We're more than happy to answer those for you. Now that we have everyone here, I first want to introduce myself before we get started. So my name is Kelsey. I'm from Fiskars on the new product development team where I work as a product manager with our creating scissors and tools. I've been at Fiskars a little over 2.5 years, and through my time here have absolutely loved it as I've been able to incorporate some new and innovative tools into my own creating projects, and then have also started to dabble in other areas of creating as well as expanding on my own creating skills that I currently have. So I got into creating when I was a young kid. My mom was my big inspiration. She taught me how to sew, how to scrapbook, and how to paper craft. And then as I've grown older, I've kind of expanded on those skills. So I absolutely love doing kind of upcycled DIY projects that we're going to be doing today. Today on the call, I'm also joined by one of my team members. Her name is Bree. So Bree, I'll send it over to you for you to give a little intro about yourself as well.
Sounds good. Thanks, Kelsey. Yeah, so I'm Bree. I also work in the new product development team here at Fiskars. I started crafting in middle school with scrapbooking, and I just continued doing it in high school and college as a way to kind of cherish my cheerleading team memories and vacations and other like milestones in my life. And so I've been at Fiskars for also about 2.5 years. And since being here, I've also kind of expanded my what I like to do with creating. So I've gotten more into paper crafting and die cutting and DIY and even a little bit into sewing. I really enjoy doing handcrafts and gifting that to my friends and family. And so that's what we're doing today. I'm gonna be making some of these for some of my friends, and they'll get them under their Christmas tree in a couple of weeks. So most of you are probably familiar with Fiskars, but maybe you don't know our history. So Fiskars has been around for over 365 years, bringing innovative products to you for all your creating needs. You probably know us for our orange-handled scissors. They're our iconic product, but we also have products in paper crafting, DIY, home decor, and cosplay, sewing and quilting, kids and back to school, cooking, and gardening. So today we're just going to be focusing on using our sewing and DIY skills. So let's go back to Kelsey to get us started.
Awesome, thanks Bree. So today we are going to be making a really fun upcycled sweater project. So you're going to want to make sure that you do have a sweater available today. It's going to be a budget-friendly, sustainable, and fun project. And we have a couple different other projects that we also are going to inspire you by. So today we will be making one of these little mug koozies, but I'll also show you how to make little trees. And we also have wine bottle holders. So lots of fun, different crafts for you to make today. So before we get started, I'm just going to walk through the different tools and materials that you are going to need for this today. So first and foremost, you are going to need a sweater. So I have one right here that I'm going to be using. The material does not matter as much. Those of you that have a sweater that's going to be a little bit more knitted, like this one is up here in the sleeve, or anything that pulls and is a little looser, that might be a little bit trickier, but still you'll be able to use that today. So first, you're just going to need that sweater. I got mine from the closet, but if you wanted to use one from a local thrift store, perfect as well. Now the materials that we're going to be doing, so we're going to show you how to do this, a no-sew version and a hand-sewed version. If you're going to follow along and do the sew version, we have needle and thread that we will need, but if you are not doing the hand-sewing version, you will not need those. The next material that you're going to need is fun embellishment. So today I have some ribbon, I also have twine and kind of this fun green colored ribbon. I also have little embellishments here, little pine cones, and then these little bulbs, and then also these little feathers that I'm going to be using. Again, whatever you have is also perfect. The other item that you're going to need for this first project is going to be a reusable thermos or coffee mug. So we are going to create a mug koozie that's going to go right over this. So for sizing, you're going to want to have that available. Next up is the tools. So today, one of the products that we're going to be using is a rotary cutter. So I have two rotary cutters here with me today, a loop rotary cutter and a stick rotary cutter. Rotary cutters are fantastic for cutting through multiple layers of fabric. Also great for cutting straight lines. When you use a rotary cutter, you are going to want to have a cutting mat, which you can see. I have one of our Fiskars 18 by 24 mats underneath. And to help cut those straight lines, you'll want a ruler as well. When you're picking between a loop or stick rotary cutter, that is really up to personal preference which one you want to use. So both of these that I have here today are 45 mil loop rotary cutters and easy blade change, so you can make it a left or right-handed for users. I personally prefer to use the loop rotary cutter, but again, some of you may like the stick better. Also today, we are going to be using scissors. So if you want to pick between rotary cutter and scissors, also up to personal preference on what your comfort level is. For us, our orange handled scissors, as Bree mentioned, is one of our icon products here at Fiskars. Also one of my favorite items to use. You can use the scissors to cut through a wide variety of different materials. So denim, silk, multiple layers of fabric. These are perfect and will get the job done. We also have our original orange handled scissors available in multiple fashion colors. So if you are looking for more of an inspirational on-trend color, we do have colors available at Michael's too. The next item that you might want to use, especially if you're doing the hand-sewn version, is a snip. So this is great for getting close cuts near the thread or when you're tying off. And then the last item is our power cut snips. So if you have a wire cutter, and you could also use this as a substitution today, I'm going to be using our power cut snips. These are one of our versatile tools, and I absolutely love the snips. So it comes with a sheet, so you just want to remove that. And then one of the great things about the power cut snips, it does have a built-in wire cutter, which is right down here on the bottom of the blade. So when I will be cutting through the pine cones or these little bulbs, I'm going to use that wire cutter function because I want to keep my fabric scissors only for fabric, and then these will get through the thicker materials as well. So now that we have all of our materials in place, I'm just gonna quick switch the camera views to give you guys an overhead, and then we will get started. In the meantime, you are gonna wanna get your sweater and one of your cutting tools, so either a scissors or rotary cutter, all set and ready to go as we're gonna begin with the cutting. All right. Bree, wanna switch it over to you quick to give a little intro on the no-sew version?
Sure. So for the no-sew version, I'm using a little bit smaller of a sweater. So whether you have like a small adult sweater, I actually have a small kid sweater. This will just help because it's not quite as stretchy on the sleeve. And so then I don't have to sew anything, and it'll fit snug on my mug. But any size sweater that you have will work. I have a couple of suggestions that if your sweater is too big, but you still don't want to do the sew version, you can just fold the sweater over and make like a cuff. So once it gets on your mug, it's gonna make it a little bit tighter. And Kelsey, are you ready for us?
I am.
All right, let's go back to Kelsey and start.
All right, so as you guys can see here, I have my sweater laid out. So we are gonna get started. We're just gonna use the sleeve of the sweater today. The first thing that you're gonna wanna do is just get it straight onto your cutting mat. Then take your thermos, I'm using a reusable coffee cup today, or the mug, whichever you're gonna be making the koozie for. You're just gonna wanna place that down onto the fabric so that you can judge how much you want to use. So for me, I'm just gonna push this down a little bit, line this up on my cutting mat so that I can see how much I would like to use. I'm liking the width of about 3 to 4 inches today. So I'm gonna cut that off. I'm actually just going to use my scissors. So I'm just gonna cut here. All right, and get that out of the way. So I have my piece of sweater that I'm gonna be using for my cuff. Next thing, I'm just gonna place that directly onto my mug. So this is where we're gonna have the difference between those of you that are doing the no-sew version and the hand sew. So for those of you that are gonna try hand sewing, you can see here, it's not too snug against the coffee cup. So what we wanna do is just simply hand sew that so we get a tighter pull onto the mug. So all you need to do for that is to thread your needle with your thread and then get started. We're just gonna do a very simple running stitch here, basic sewing, nothing fancy. So just going in and out and in and out. And you're gonna wanna do this all the way around the base of the coffee cup. So as we are hand sewing, I will pass it back to Bree so she can get those of you started on the no-sew version.
All right, thanks, Kelsey. So same thing that Kelsey did, just lay your mug on top of your sweater, and then I cut mine with my scissors. You can kind of see that it's not totally straight when I cut it. So I'm gonna actually square up the fabric. And so to do that, I'm gonna use a rotary cutter and a ruler. You could also do it with scissors if you don't have these tools at home. And I'm actually just gonna stand just to make sure that my cut is gonna be strong enough. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this piece and just line it up on my mat. And then I'm just gonna use the ruler over the mat and lining up the lines. And then I'm just gonna make a cut. It's a little bit thicker of a sweater than I was anticipating for my rotary cutter. So now I have a straight line, and I'm just gonna slide it on. And if we want to, you can fold in the top part. It'll just make it a little bit cleaner. Otherwise, you can just leave it, or make any detailed cuts that you want to just make it a little bit prettier. And we can go back to Kelsey and see how her project's coming along.
Awesome, thanks Bree. So those of you that are hand sewing, you can see that when you put in extra stitches, it becomes a little bit more snug here. I did finish, and here's another close-up of what this is looking like. So you can see hopefully my green stitches in here of going over and under, and then when you get to the point where you're back, just a simple knot, very simple sewing here. To keep those tied together is all that you're going to need to do. Again, you can keep the koozie right on your thermos when you're doing that, and then just tie off, as you can see I did right there. How is the hand sewing going? Are there any questions so far? Comments? How's it going? Oh, thank you. Comment about my shirt. Thank you. Rock, paper, discard, scissors there. Awesome. Okay. Not seeing any questions about the hand sewing, so perfect. Again, very simple there. Really what we're wanting to do with the hand sew is just make this a little bit tighter.
Sorry, Kelsey, but we lost video on the overhead.
Oh. And
There we go. We're back.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So once you've finished hand sewing, we are ready to add some personal touches on this. So today, as I mentioned, I have a couple different embellishments that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to jazz this up a little bit by using some twine. And then I'm also going to add these white bulbs. So I'm going to first start by cutting the white bulbs. I will use the power cut snip. So again, to show you an up close of this, right here in the blade is where the wire cutter feature is. So all you have to do is put the material in the blade right there, and then you just snap it. So I will show you that. I will just take off a couple of these little bulbs today. So we're just going to put it right in there and cut that off. And then add some twine. So any type of ribbon or twine, little decorations that you have at home are going to be perfect for this. Any little personalized touches. I kind of like with the blue of my sweater today, that it's kind of this winter wonderland look. So then I'm just going to tie this into a nice little bow. And then snip off the remainder there. And then I'm going to add these little bulbs to put a little bit of a personalized touch there. And I'm actually going to snip a little bit more off just so that we're getting a very clear. All right, I like that much better. And snip this one a little bit more as well. Get these little bulbs in there. I also have little kind of metallic leaves that I'm going to add in. And I'm liking this. So here is what mine looks like. Again, super easy with the hand sewn version, just making that a little bit tighter down at the bottom. Added twine, these little fun bulbs, and a leaf to put a little personalized touch on it. I'm going to pass it back to Bree for her to show us other ways that we can add personalization and other embellishments.
Thanks, Kelsey. That looked great. So you guys can see for mine that it's really tight on the bottom, and that's just how my sweater was. So I don't really have to worry about that with sewing, which is great. This piece came off of the sweater that I was using as one of like the tie things. So I thought that that was really cute, and I would like to use that on my project as one of my embellishments. So, and actually it's a little too long, so I might cut this. And then you can also, so you can use any of these things that Kelsey was using, the little picks, and then just kind of slide them in there. And then just to add any more personalization to it, you know, it's ready for you to put a gift card in, or you know, like hot cocoa mix or coffee mix. You could even do like a handmade voucher for a friend. You know, you could have a social distance coffee date with a friend, and this is your gift, and they're ready to go, and it's ready to gift. So you can kind of add whatever you want. There's also like twine and ribbon that can give it a little bit more of a pop, since obviously my little embellishment is the same color as my sweater was. But it's all set and ready to go, and it's handmade, personalized, and pretty sustainable. So you know, you're recycling things. So Kelsey, are you ready to show us some other things that we can make with the sweaters?
Sure am, Bree. Thank you. Yours looks fantastic. So we would love to see what your guys' koozies look like if you followed along with us today. So feel free to share these on social media. You can use hashtag #FistBars and hashtag #MakeItWithMichael so that we're able to check out all the awesome koozies you've made. I also want to show you guys a couple other projects that you could make with the remainder of the sweater that you used. So I'm just going to move my cup over there. So I have the rest of this sweater to leverage today to turn into different crafts. So what I'm first going to focus on is the body of it. So down here at the bottom, I can take my rotary cutter and I'm going to cut this into strips, and I will just show you this, how easy it is. I am not going to focus on making them too straight right now, just going to push that angle here, push across here, and we have this thicker fabric, so I'm just really going to try and push across. But say you would go across, and what you want to turn this into, to move my sweater, little Christmas trees. So what I took was a styrofoam cone, and I just wrapped this with construction paper for easy adhesion. And then I took strips of the bottom of the sweater. So have a couple left over from when I made the tree here. You take these pieces, again, about 2 to 3 inches in our width at the bottom of the sweater, and you just want to cut across, and then you can cut these. You'll need anywhere from about 6 inches to a foot in length, but then you'll vary those as you go. So you want to just start here at the bottom and you wrap it around. I used hot glue to adhere the sweater to the styrofoam cone, and then you'd keep going. So then you'd add another piece. You want to start at the bottom so that we're able to get this tiered effect with the tree, and then adding another piece with hot glue, and then again going up to the top. The tricky part with this one is when you do get up here to the tip, you're going to want to make sure that you wrap it around and around and not smush it down like that. Otherwise, it's not going to be a very pointy Christmas tree. This is an awesome opportunity that you can further embellish. So you could use these little bulbs, hot glue those on to make it look like little ornaments. You could add some ribbon and tie that around. Or my preference actually is just to keep it just as. So I did make two different ones. I have a white one and a green one. These are going to be perfect. I'm going to stick them right on the mantle of my fireplace. Super easy, super simple, and I think they are super cute. So again, you're using the body of the sweater for those. Pushing those aside. The next thing that you can do is take the collar of the top of the sweater. And what we're going to do with that is create a mini tree skirt. So you would just cut here around in a circle. And then if you have a mini tree, like the 2-foot tall ones, you can take this, it'll work perfectly, just slipping the collar around. And then you can also jazz that up a little bit again by taking some ribbon. You could stitch this in and out, in and out, in and out, and then tie it tightly around the base of the Christmas tree so that the skirt stays intact. The next thing that you can make is using the remainder of the sleeve. So this is one of my favorite holiday projects. Love giving this one to friends and family. And what we would make with this is you're going to need most of the sleeve. I do already make an example made, but we are going to be making wine bottle gift openers here. So what you do with this is you would just place the wine bottle on the sleeve to the desired length that you want it. So here I wanted a little bit at the top of the bottle to show, so keeping that there. And that's how you would pick the length. You can do it, let me just throw this out of the way. So I did make one where, as you can see, I did not add any type of reinforcement at the bottom. It's just the cuff of the sleeve down here. And then at the top, I liked the look of the raw edges after I cut it. So it was just making sure that I cut it enough so that the wine bottle could be seen. Then, of course, added a little bit of twine to tie it off, as well as additional embellishments with the pine cones. I'm also going to add a little tag just to add a little holiday note to my friends. As this year with COVID-19 impacting so many of us, the holidays are going to look a little bit different with the distance in between us. I personally love being able to make all or part of my gifts homemade. So this is awesome, super quick, and then allows me to send something with a little bit of a personalized touch to my loved ones. With the wine bag though, if you are interested in doing a sewing version, we could reinforce this bottom so that the sleeve doesn't pop off. So that's what I have here on this one. So as you can see, I took a piece of felt, just measured it around the base of the wine bottle, and then hand sewed to attach that to my sweater. Super easy, super simple to do, but then just gives it a little bit more reinforcement, and then also make sure that my wine bottle is not going to slip through the bottom of it. And then again, up here at the top, adding twine and then little embellishments to put a personalized touch on that. We also can use the other sleeve that we did not use with the cuff. So this one for me, we can use this portion of the sleeve to make additional cuffs. So you could put a cuff on a mason jar, make it exactly how we made ours today, where you can stitch the bottom to make it a little bit tighter, but awesome little personalization if you wanted to send any type of pre-made recipe or hot chocolate in a jar, brownies in a jar, however, and then attach a tag to the mason jar to be able to include the ingredients, but then, of course, adding fun little embellishments, just as we did with the canned koozies. The other type of cuff that you can make with the remainder of the sleeve is cute little candle holders. So for this one, again, I did not tie off on the bottom or add any felts for reinforcement. I just let that stay. I really love how this one turned out. So just covering my candle, as you can see here, and then adding some twine and a little metallic leaf for a little touch on that. Lastly, with the remainder of the sweater, you can get the kids involved and make some super easy ornaments. So two different variations here. The first one is pretty simple. Will just require using a hot glue gun. So you would wrap whatever fabric from the sweater you have left, dab a little bit of hot glue down here and then snip off with your scissors the remainder of the fabric that you do not need. Add a little ribbon, and then we have a super cute and personalized ornament. You can also get the kids involved and use different scraps and then shove them inside of the ornament. You could also add tinsel or glitter just to make this a really fun and easy project to get the kids involved for the holidays as well. So with that, do you guys have any additional questions or comments based on any of the projects that we showed you guys today? Any questions about any of the tools that we used? I'm just gonna flip my camera back as we wait here. All right. One question is asking about the accents. So I grabbed everything today from Michael's, so you can find that at your local Michael's craft store. I see Allie's been answering a couple questions. Awesome. Oh, yes. Great comment. All right. No problem. Okay, so I think we have addressed most of your questions today. If there's anything else that we missed, feel free to reach out to us. Again, we would love to see your finished mug koozie, so be sure to tag us on your social media posts using #FistStars and #CreateWithMichaels. For any additional project inspiration that I showed you guys today, we can also provide that. With that, thank you guys for joining us today. Happy Thanksgiving and have a great rest of your day. Bye now.